Hi Srishti, hi Sanchita, hi Surbi, it's a pleasure to see you. Atisha, Saurabh, Archana, Divya, welcome everyone. Hi Nandini, Isha, Lakshay, hi Sunita. Welcome back everybody to another live session with Inlingua New Delhi. And as most of you know me already, my name is Karan. For those of you who don't know me, well, my name is Karan. Today, as most of you would be aware, our topic is some books that you can begin your reading journey with. Hi Divya, it's good to see you Divya. Hi Fayaz. Alright, so let me tell you about my journey, how I started reading. Well, I remember my mother was an avid fan of Agatha Christie, and she is still of the Dark Tower series, Stephen King, yeah. And she used to love reading those books, and I always saw her surrounded by books every single day. And when I'd go to my maternal grandparents' house, they had an entire library to themselves, and that was just my first glimpse into the world of reading. I didn't pick up my first book till I was, I think, maybe 10 or 11 years old, and I went with my mother to the library that she used to go to, and I picked up my first book, which was a comic book. It was a Tinkle comic book. At that time it was very popular amongst kids. It is even today. I think a lot of stories are picked up from there to teach children the values of life, and of course there are a lot of funny stories as well. Well, that's my first book that I read, and I never looked back, because once I started reading Tinkle, my pace initially was very slow, but then I started finishing the book in 2 hours, and I was always hungry for more. So I shifted to Enid Blyton, then Rick Riordan, J.K. Rowling, a lot of different authors that I started exploring, and I realized that my favorite genre in reading is fantasy. Well, that is my reading journey, and I hope that after today's live session, this will be the beginning to your reading journey. So, a few books that I would recommend to you all to start reading. Well, the first one, they're all Indian authors, of course, because I think Indian authors are just easier to relate to. The first author is Chetan Bhagat. I'm sure all of you have heard of him. He is a very renowned author. He's written more than 10 books now, I feel. And the one that I would recommend to you is The 3 Mistakes of My Life by Chetan Bhagat. That is his third book. I think it was released in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a story about 3 friends, Gopi, and I forgot the other 2 friends' names, but it's about 3 friends who are on their journey to discover what they want in life, and they want to make something out of their lives. Now, in this journey, they open up a shop which sells cricket material. There was one of the friends who is very fluent with cricket, and he knows all the rules. He trains people. He even starts teaching them. And yes, Christiana, don't worry. I won't give you any spoilers. I won't tell you any of the mistakes that that the author mentions. But just to give you a gist of the story. So the 3 of them open a shop. One of them is an avid cricket fan. He starts. Yes, Ishan and Govind. Thank you so much, Xenia. Yes, so I think Ishan is the one who's a cricket fan, and he starts teaching young boys how to play cricket. And over there, he notices one particular boy called Ali, whom he takes a special interest in, because Ali is gifted. He has a problem, which they actually use to the advantage of Ali to make him a better cricketer. And this story is all about the journey of these 3 friends and how they discover the ups and downs of life as they grow up. Definitely recommended if you want to start your reading journey. It's one of the first few books that I read by an Indian author, and I absolutely loved it. So I would recommend that to you all as well. I can see that Pooja is in agreement. She believes that The 3 Mistakes of My Life is indeed a book that everyone should read. Okay. The second book that I would recommend is by an Indian-British author. His name is Ruskin Bond. I'm sure all of you have heard of him as well. Ruskin Bond has written many stories. He's actually quite an old author, and one of the stories that I would recommend is called The Blue Umbrella. Now this was also adapted to a film, but since we want to start reading, let's focus on the contents of the book. Now this story is about a girl called Binya. Binya has a special pendant made of, I think, a leopard's claw, and this leopard's claw is, well, a mascot of good luck, and everybody thinks that if you have that particular pendant, you will get a lot of good luck in your life, and everybody wants that pendant. And Binya is from a small town. So she has a lot of tourists coming over there, and she sees this group of really rich people, and they have a blue umbrella. She gets fascinated by the blue umbrella, and she says that she needs to have it. She wants to have the blue umbrella for herself. So she trades her blue umbrella for her lucky pendant. And now with Binya, of course, you have Ram Bharosa. Ram Bharosa is an acquaintance of Binya. He owns a small shop, and he sees this blue umbrella as well. And Ram Bharosa thinks that, okay, now I need to get this umbrella, because it was a very beautiful umbrella, and Binya refuses to give it to him. So Ram Bharosa gets another person involved. I think his name is Rajaram. Gets Rajaram involved, and he tells Rajaram that, listen, I want you to steal the blue umbrella for me. And well, Rajaram manages to steal it, but he gets caught. And when he gets caught, he obviously puts the blame on Ram Bharosa. Now, because Binya and Ram Bharosa are very close to each other, Binya feels bad for him, and she says, okay, you can have my blue umbrella. And she gives the blue umbrella to Ram Bharosa. But in return, Ram Bharosa gives her a bear claw pendant. A bear claw pendant is supposed to be, in the books, more lucky, or rather, sorry, is supposed to be luckier than a leopard's claw pendant. And that's how the story ends. It's a very simple story, very easy to follow, very easy vocabulary. And I think because the setting is in India, it becomes much more relatable for all the readers, especially if you're starting out. The third author that I would like to recommend to all of you is Twinkle Khanna. I'm sure all of you know Twinkle Khanna by now. She was a Bollywood actress. Her mother's name is Dimple Kapadia, and she's written a book called Mrs. Funnybones. Now, Mrs. Funnybones is a story about Twinkle Khanna, but it is not her autobiography. I wouldn't recommend starting with an autobiography when you want to start reading. I think they're very dull. However, Twinkle Khanna captures every moment of her life with such humor that you can't help but laugh with her. So she fulfills the role of a working mother who's working the entire day, and then she comes back in the home and she still does those small little tasks which are extremely important to keep the house running. Then she is an independent woman who at the same time also has to listen to her mother-in-law for the smallest of things. And the way she pens it down, the way she puts her point across, and the situations which she narrates are really, for the lack of a better word, funny. And I'm sure that if you are looking for something that is light-hearted, something that you feel you want to start reading with, which is not too heavy on content, you can start your reading journey with Mrs. Funnybones by Twinkle Khanna. Anyone over here who has read any of these books and who would like to probably give their feedback on the books? Yes, that is a very famous line from that book, Pooja. There can't be two tigers in one house. So in this line, Twinkle Khanna talks about her mother-in-law. And because her mother-in-law and her both are extremely fierce people. How to stay consistent? I lose interest after reading for a few days. Okay. So I think Fayaz, a lot of people stop reading after a few days is because they consider reading a task. They think of it as a thing to do in their checklist. So the moment you make reading a fun habit, then even if you don't read for a day, next day you'll be like, okay, fine, let's pick it up. Pick up books that are easy to read first. Don't start with books that are difficult to read. As I said even earlier, if you want to start with a book, I think these three authors have very simple stories. And Mrs. Funnybones is comedy. I mean, I think everyone can relate to comedy. So you can start with that. The stories in a book are very short. They aren't in any order as such. They're just random stories which she wants to share about her life. So starting with things like that can help you. Also, don't set yourself a goal. Don't say that I need to finish this book within 2 days or else. The moment you make it a task, you will lose the joy of reading. So when you pick up a book, read how much ever you can. Just set a goal of maybe 5 pages a day or maybe a chapter a day, and you will be good to go. Let me know if that works for us. Thank you, Pooja. And if you have any more books that you would like to suggest to everyone who wants to start their reading journey, please do so. Claude, okay, I can repeat the authors' names, and at the end of the live, we will also enter the names of the authors with their books. So we have The 3 Mystics of My Life by Chetan Bhagat. The second one is The Blue Umbrella by Ruskin Bond. The third one is Mrs. Funnybones by Twinkle Khanna. We will mention this when the live gets over in the comment section as well. Can anyone think of any reasons why reading is a good habit? Anyone who can suggest, or anyone who can think of any reason why you should start reading? Okay, so Xenia and Pooja both recommend Sudha Murthy. I haven't read any of her books, but I know that she is a very, very good author, and we should start reading her as well. Yes, Xenia, reading improves your imagination. For all of us who say that, oh, I can't imagine and I don't know how to write, or I don't know how to think out of the box, read. It definitely helps. A few other things that I feel why reading is important. Yes, Xenia, of course. Vocabulary. Xenia is very active today. I like Xenia. Yes, it improves your vocabulary. The easiest way to improve your vocabulary is reading. You will find a lot of new words, underline them, and you must have attended a lot of the previous lives as well. Write them down, practice them every day, and you will definitely improve in terms of your vocabulary. Atisha, vocab, imagination, concentration, yes, and creative mind. Concentration, very interesting. You know that when you sit and you read, you want to focus on what you're reading, and automatically it's like yoga. Your mind will focus on one thing, and it will improve your concentration. This is scientific data. This is not just me saying something because I want to. This is scientific data where reading has shown to affect people who are hyperactive, or who are maybe possibly a little depressive. When they read, they feel calm. Yes, Nandini says it opens your mind. Absolutely. When you read what others have to write, it opens your mind to other people's perspectives and other people's views. That's a very good point, Nandini. Thank you. Xenia, people find you interesting. Yes, they do. When you read something that you don't know about and then you talk about it, people automatically want to listen to you and they find you interesting. Yes, Atisha, it improves your knowledge depending on the books you like. Yes. Actually, whichever book you pick up, there will always be something to learn from it. Whichever book it is, even if it is, a self-help book, or if it is something as cool as Mrs. Funnybones. Fayaz, reading is extremely important for language proficiency because that is where you get your vocabulary from. You get your vocabulary from listening texts or reading texts, and reading is one of those important ones. If any of you know of the Kindle, or there's also an app called Audible, where you have the books online and the books are read to you. So if anyone feels that they don't enjoy reading, or they find reading very boring and something they don't want to touch on, you can also start listening to the books if that's what you're fond of. Every time you listen to a new word, look it up again. And there are some apps which give you the meaning of the words on the screen itself. So definitely, to improve your vocabulary, if you're a reader who pays attention to grammar, it can improve your grammar to a certain degree as well. So written language proficiency definitely improves with reading, Fayaz. Yes, Karandeep, Malgudi Days, it's such a classic, of course. Atisha says that reading transports us to a different world. It does. And that's how it improves your imagination. Archana, it can improve your grammar to a certain extent. I will not say that only reading improves your grammar and it will make you pit-pat with it, but it does. As I said earlier, if you are an attentive reader and you know that, okay, I am looking for sentences in the simple present tense, for example, and you pick them out, you get more practice with it. But to learn grammar from scratch, just by reading, not so much, but to a certain extent, definitely. Okay. What are your thoughts about empathizing with others? Do you think that reading helps you to empathize with others, and why? Anyone who would like to share it in the comments? Yes, Vikram, English podcasts are very good to improve your listening skills, which in turn also improve your speaking skills. Thanks for that, for the experience. Thanks for sharing that experience, Vikram. Yes, Nandini, you can also read Reader's Digest. It has short stories, it has funny stories, it has some articles, and there are also a lot of puzzles in Reader's Digest. What I know of is that there's also a section on vocabulary in Reader's Digest where they have, the difficult vocabulary like an MCQ format. You can definitely try that as well. Yes, Prashant, reading English newspapers is also fine. If there is a specific newspaper that you want, you can read the New York Times. I know it's not an Indian newspaper, but they are very, very thorough with their editing and proofreading. There can absolutely be no mistake. I remember, last year during COVID, they mentioned a few names of the people who had passed away, and there was one error in one name of a list of 20,000. They reprinted the entire paper for that one error. So they are very particular about spellings. Atisha, which is preferred, reading a book on screen or in hand, whatever you're comfortable with. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that reading is an enjoyable experience. Everyone may not be comfortable reading, keeping a book in their hand, especially those big tomes which we have. In that case, you can read from a Kindle or from your laptop or something like that. I personally am not a very big fan of reading from the screen. I prefer buying books. I love the smell of books. So that's why I prefer reading a book, a real book, and not just online. All right. GKCHY, I can't speak English. You typed that in English. Stop thinking that you can't speak English. Everybody knows a little bit of the language. All you have to do now is work on it and get better. Keep practicing. You will get better. Herman, if you don't feel like reading after a few pages, stop. Maybe you don't like the book. Maybe the book is not engaging enough for you. Don't force yourself to read something that you don't want to. However, find yourself a genre. I read a lot of different genres before I finally settled on reading fiction, and to be specific, fantasy fiction. I read a lot of autobiographies, I read a lot of self-help books, I read a lot of science fiction. I didn't enjoy those a lot. But once you find something that you like, keep reading that, keep reading more books in that genre, and then you can expand from there. Nandini, thank you so much for answering my question. Such a lovely answer. When reading a book, you can often relate to a character in the story and therefore empathize with him or her. And this is the importance of reading. For a lot of people, reading is therapeutic. Reading makes you calmer as a person, and it definitely makes you more empathetic as a person. When you read someone else's point of view, you start understanding them. There are so many series which we watch where the villain is portrayed in the worst manner possible, and then they show his whole character arc of how he becomes a better person and what are his or her struggles in life, and you start liking even those villains. It's the same way with reading. When you start reading a book, you start relating to the life of the characters, and that makes you more empathetic. That's a lovely answer, Nandini. Anonymous Poet, yes, you can start reading the books that I mentioned. You need to have some level of difficulty. They're not very easy, but there are enough words for you to, there are enough difficult words for you to keep it challenging, and more than enough easy vocabulary for you to keep reading. So find a book like that, and these books will work for you. Yes, Atisha, you put yourselves in the shoes of the main character. Sanjeev Roy, you can read any newspaper that you want, any English newspaper that you want, which will help improve your vocabulary. But yes, please be careful for errors in grammar and spelling. That's the only thing. You can read any English newspaper. I'm not going to particularly take the side of any one. Fayaz, the three books are The Three Mistakes of My Life by Chetan Bhagat. The second one was The Blue Umbrella by Ruskin Bond. And the third one is Mrs. Funnybones by Twinkle Khanna. Alright, so we've discussed a few advantages of reading. You're welcome. Can somebody tell me, how does reading help with a healthier lifestyle in terms of sleeping? Can anybody tell me in the comments, how does reading give you better sleep? In the meantime, Fayaz, you can join inlingua New Delhi by dropping us a message in the DMs, and we will provide you with a contact number. One of our counselors will call you and they will guide you with the process. Alosha, I don't have all the books with me right now. I just have Three Mistakes of My Life, and that's also in another corner of my house. But I can't show them to you right now, unfortunately. Yes, Herman, that's absolutely correct. It induces sleep. Xenia, yes. Yes. And even Clot J, yes. Reading relaxes you, just like yoga. My brother was quite a light sleeper, and along with being a light sleeper, he also was a late sleeper. And I remember when he was a little younger, he started reading books when I started reading books, and he'd pick up a book just to read 2 pages, and after 10 minutes I'd see him and he'd be snoring away to glory. So it definitely helped my brother to sleep better. Right? The moment you read, the reason it calms you down is because, as I said, your mind relaxes and your mind calms down. And when the mind is calm is when you can finally go off to sleep. You also have very good sleep after reading. Your sleep is less disturbed. You have fewer nightmares unless you're reading a horror book, and the quality of sleep improves. Yes, Atisha, it's good to see that you are in agreement with my statement. Alright, let's talk about if anyone over here has an idea of what Alzheimer's is, or any kind of aging process. You know, like as you grow older, you start forgetting things, or you're not too aware of your surroundings. Can anyone tell me how does reading help with that? Sanjeev, reading per se will not help you with pronunciation. Pronunciation can be improved by with the help of listening text or by speaking. The way in which you can improve pronunciation with reading is if you have a book that speaks to you, right? For example, if you have Siri and Alexa and all these, and if you ask them to start reading your screen, then they will. Then you can listen to the word as it is spoken. Even then, that is a little artificial, but there are a lot of audiobooks which are read out by real people, and it is recorded, and their pronunciation is very natural. You can try that. In the meantime, I'm still waiting for people to tell me how reading helps you to not forget things as you grow older, or how it helps you to remember things as you grow older. Yes, Atisha, you are close. It works on memory, but can you think of how? How does it work on your memory? How does reading help memory? You're welcome, Sanjeev. Yes, Xenia, it reduces dementia. That's good. Do you know why? Can you think of why reading reduces dementia? Why reading delays the onset of Alzheimer's? How does it help? Yes, Xenia, it stimulates the brain cells. That's absolutely correct. When you read, you process. Yes, Nandini, that's right. It sharpens your mind. You need to process what you're reading. And you don't really finish a book in a day. When you go back to a book, you kind of review what you have read at that time. And while you're reading, your brain makes these small little extra connections to keep your brain healthy. And a healthy brain means a healthy old age. And that is how you prevent the onset of a lot of different disorders as you age. That's a good answer. Thank you so much, Xenia and Nandini. All right. We are almost going to wind up. But before that, for those of you... Yes, Sanjeev, that's right. You can keep yourself young. Your mind will remain young. It's like exercising, right? If you lift weights every day, your muscles will be in shape. You will look younger, right? And in the same way, the exercise to your brain is with reading. And the more you exercise your brain, the younger your brain stays. Thank you so much for that analogy. Okay. To quickly review and recap what we have spoken about today, we covered 3 books. The first one, if anyone can help me out, what's the name of the first book? In the comments. Yes, the first one is The 3 Mistakes of My Life by Chetan Bhagat. The second is The Blue Umbrella by Ruskin Bond. And the third one is Mrs. Funnybones by Twinkle Khanna. Please remember, it's not an autobiography. They're just parts of her life which she has presented in a humorous manner. It's not all true. There are some things that have been, made rosy, right? Then after that, we also spoke about some benefits of reading, as all you lovely participants have been very participative today. You have given me the advantages of reading, which would be increasing your imagination, improving your imagination, your creativity, better sleep at night. It reduces the aging of your brain. It makes your brain stronger. And of course, it helps you to sleep on time and it gives you good sleep, right? So this is what we've spoken about today. There were a lot of different questions that all of you had. I hope I was able to answer all of them. If there are any questions that I have left out, please feel free to send them to me. Anyone who has any other questions or any book recommendations which others can pick up from you, maybe 1 or 2 lines about what the book is about, because I have not read all the books. Thank you so much, Atisha, and I am very happy that you found this session useful and that we could relate reading to a lot of other things apart from just vocabulary. Any recommendations? Atisha, if there's a book, which is your favorite book, Atisha? Please tell us that in the comments. Yes, Fayaz, there are a lot of courses apart from English. We have Spanish courses, German, French courses as well. We have personality development, we have interview skills, we have soft skills. You name it, we have it. Each and everything that you want in order to get better in terms of your career or in spoken discourse, Inlingua has it for you. If there are any international students watching this right now, we also teach Hindi, which is one of the official languages in India. We have classes for those as well. Yes, Nandini, we have reading skills. We do reading skills at Inlingua. Every lesson, in fact, will have some component of reading in it. No, I wouldn't say every lesson every single day, but definitely the course that you take up, they will have a lot of reading activities in that as well, Nandini. So you can improve your reading skills at Inlingua. Okay, Robin Sharma is a very good author, Atisha, and thank you so much for those recommendations. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari and The 5 AM Club. A recent book that I finished was The Kite Runner by Khalid Hassani. It's one of the most beautiful books I have read. It's a little heavy on content. The story is a little serious, but if you are already a reader and you want to pick up something new, definitely try that book. All right. And I think I will see all of y'all in another live very soon. This is me signing off. I hope all of you got a lot to learn today, a lot of good recommendations from a lot of viewers over here. And of course, knowing the benefits of reading apart from just improving our vocabulary. I will see all of you very soon. Yes, Nandini, the Hina artist by Alka Joshi. That's a good recommendation as well. I will see all of y'all in another live very, very soon. Until then, everyone, be happy, stay safe, and let's start reading. Bye-bye and have a good day.